How's you going, boys? Mike here. Welcome back to a cold Grampie's workshop this morning. Some chilly out here today, damp and cold. Oh, miserable. But anyway, my little project today is I have a smart battery charger that I usually keep in the temporary shelter where I park the tractor. And I brought it in the other day to charge the battery on my estate car because I'm working on the estate car trying to get it going. Anyways, here's my smart, or they call it intelligent. Isn't that something? 12 volt intelligent pulse repair charger. Look at that. She's a nice unit. I did a video on this, and if I can find the link to that video, I'll post it in the description down below if you want to have a look. But anyway, when I was plugging this in here in the shop and I brought it in, look what I discovered on the wire. I hope you can see that. See that wire is all chewed up there? Guess how that happened? Yeah, it was those squirrels. Oh yeah. Still works. All I did was chew on the insulation a little bit. But one of the other things I discovered was because I keep this smart charger in the temporary shelter, the temporary shelters, they're famous for condensation, right? Especially on days like today where it's kind of chilly and cold out. If the sun ever does come out, because the shelter is a dark color, the sun will beat on that and it'll warm up in no time at all, and it forms condensation on the inside. Now, where I was storing my smart charger inside before was on that little wall panel that I put in the shelter, and I'll show you that when we go out there. But I just put my charger in behind that, and it was up tight against the tent wall, the shelter wall. And then what happens is as the condensation forms, of course it forms on this too because it's in contact with the wall. So what I'm up to today is I want to make a little bit of a shelf so I can store my intelligent battery charger still and store it out there in the shelter, but keep it away from touching the walls of the tent. So that's what we're up to today. I'm going to make a couple little brackets and put a shelf in my shelter. Let's go. Okay, we're out in the shelter, and this is where I'd like to put this little shelf here today so I can put my smart charger up here. Before I used to just lay it in back here, and that worked great and would hold it there, but it touching against the shelter top, and even now, look, and it's not even sunny out, eh? I don't know how well you can detect that, but the inside of that, the whole shelter is just soaked. Condensation, terrible. So I want to put a shelf out here on this because this is still dry. There's no condensation on that. There's no condensation on my power jumper cables or anything, eh? But on the wall there is. So because this is on a bit of an angle, because the walls on the tent are kind of splayed, I got my my bevel gauge here, so I'm going to just hold that against the wall here. And the trick here is you have to hold this part plumb. So put it right on that line right there. That should work. Eh? Yeah, just like that. And then I put my level on here. We're not building a casket here, right? So it doesn't have to be dead on, but that doesn't look too bad right there. So now I'm going to use this angle to cut a couple of brackets, put on here, and then have a piece of shelving that I want to sit on top here. So let's go. So this is what I'm thinking I'm going to use for my shelf. It's just a piece of scrap, of course, that I had kicking around the shop. I have an edge on it already, but the corners are kind of cut out. I'm not sure what this came off. I can't remember. But I'm just going to trim this back so that it's just this width, because I don't want it to be right wide. Something like so. Okay, now I'm going to get a little bit of an edge like this, just to put on this side here too, just to finish that off. And then this is going to just go on there at the top. Something like that. Alright, now my intent now is that when I install that, this is going to go towards the tent wall just to ensure that I have a good break, thermal break between the tent wall and what I'm going to put on the shelf. Okay, originally I was hoping that I would be able to mount my shelf with this finger rail here towards the shelter wall, and I would mount it flush with the face of the panel that I have out there. I decided I'm not going to do that because then it protrudes too far into the shelter and space is at a premium in there. So I want to set this shelf on top of that panel, set this finger rail here back almost so that it's touching the tent wall, but not quite. So in order to do that, I need some sort of bracket to hold this in place. And what I come up with was, I just have a piece of 2x2 here, and I'm going to rip the angle that I measured with my bevel gauge. Then I'll just screw that to the bottom of the shelf, and then we can screw this face to the wall panel that's in the shelter. So I determined that this angle is 11 degrees. I measured that on my chop saw. So I'm going to set the bevel on the table saw here to 11 degrees. Something like so. So now I'm going to rip this through here, give me that 11 degree that I need. Set the fence up for that. I just want to start nicking it at the bottom. That should do good. Let's go. Because this is scrap wood, I thought I had all the screws out of it, but apparently I didn't. So I'm not sure what that did to my blade, but she was a tough go to get through that. Oh well, that's the problem with using scraps. Hopefully now this is going to mount on the front like this, and then the angle I cut in it will fit against the panel in the shed, and I can face screw that through here with 4 or 5 screws, same through the top. Okay, so here's my piece that I cut, right? So that should go on here, and that should give me a good surface here now to mount. Oop, this needs to go the other way. I'm going to put that on there, and this is going to sit up here, something like that. So that looks pretty level, and I'll set it up so that this finger rail at the back is not touching the tent. To start off with, I'm going to secure this bracket on here. I'm going to put 4 screws in it just because I've got 4 screws. So now I want this to go up here, something like so. About like that. May as well put 4 screws in here too, eh? Okay, so now I can put my charger up here. I could even run this power line down the back here. Something like that. Ideal. It doesn't look too bad, eh? I think that's going to work. I like it. So that was a quick little job. Put that shelf in the shelter. It's going to work good. Going to be able to hold that charger and, you know, any other things. You know what horizontal surfaces are like. You can't have enough of them. So thanks for watching. Thumbs up me. Give me some comments, eh? Let me know what you think of my shelf. And have a great week. Stay safe. We'll talk to you.